Kasheme, conscious listening.
I'll be honest with you, it started in Sheffield when I was about 15. I bought records like everyone did, that was it. But the intensity, the relentless pursuit of music started really, I'll be honest with you, when I started taking drugs, because it was about, you stayed up late. And there was 3 days after getting high that what happened in the club was incredible. There was the evangelism of acid house and house music in 85, 86, up to 88. But then it was the 2 days you're in someone's flat listening to these incredible records. And then, people would be sharing music and suddenly, it was like the doors were kicked off, of the mind, and there was this sort of portal to another world where everything just sounded so transformatively beautiful. So Brazilian records, street soul records, all just suddenly sounded amazing. So for me, acid house and that moment was the beginning of the real evangelism with it, because what I loved about acid house, I loved house music, I still do, but what I really loved about it was going back to someone's house. That's how it began, really. And I've never been a collector. I mean, although I have a quite extensive collection, but I'm not a record collector. I'm not a completist. I don't need every record by Roy Ayers. It can sound pretentious, but it's kind of, you want to share it and play it. It feels good to do so. So I just fell in love with that. A very good friend of mine, John McCready, you won't know him, John in Manchester, you must know him. He said to me, he's a big inspiration for me, and he said to me, the thing is, Lou, all these records you buy, whether they're £100, £500 or more, or $1 from a thrift shop, we're only borrowing it, we're just hiring them, and usually they're expensively, but when you pass away, they all go back in the middle. And it just reminded me, I was in Barcelona 2 years ago digging, and I had a real epiphany moment where I thought, well, all these records I'm buying, they're not really mine. Well, of course they are. Don't be taking them off me, because you won't get them. But they eventually do go back in the pot. And I think, there's the old saying, isn't there, memento mori, which is, life doesn't go on forever, you've got to grab it. And for me, it's funny, music, when you try and talk about what it does to you, it can sound so, cringe and a little bit trite and a bit contrived. But I was listening to this beautiful podcast with Rick Rubin today, and he talks about more than poetry in some ways, and more than literature in some ways. There's something about music that is this portal to another way, it's your soul, and it sounds very, pretentious, but I think it's true. I think there's something very, there you have the ability to transcend from where you are and something really quite wonderful. And what that is, I don't know. I'm not a philosopher. Most of my philosophy is borrowed off the internet from memes and Instagram and various podcasts at 6 a.m, sat there in my shorts after a gig. But I sort of string them all together, and my feeling is that music is something quite unique, and it does transform you somewhere. I think some people, I've talked to people who go, why are you so evangelical about music? Why is it? And for me, I think it's because it does that. It stops the noise. It removes you from the now. And it's, it stops my, I'm ADHD, so it stops the duality of my consciousness. I stop listening to myself and I'm just there, and it's quite a wonderful thing. I've not been to Zurich. I've been to Geneva a long time ago, but it's not what I expected. I don't know what I expected, but again, it's just these little off-piste places down some back street in the city where there's just these little things, and I've been here 3 days, and there's been an amazing record shop, 16 ton, and bought some incredible records there. And yeah, it's just, I think, you know, one of the best things about DJ, I've never understood DJs who go in somewhere, do the gig, fly out and leave. Of course, occasionally you have to do that, but to me, as enjoyable as the gig, which is brilliant, it's having food with someone, or sharing, or chatting and meeting people, and people showing you all these weird little, you know, idiosyncrasies of the city down some God knows where. So that to me is part of it, and you know, it's worth, you know, it's funny, I'm away from my missus, the kids, the dogs, but I do miss them, but I love this as well. And it's like years ago, you know, I used to cane it, large it and all that, and I don't anymore. You know, it's like ginger tea and fucking microdosing God knows what, and just wandering about. But I find it more exciting than I did. I really do. I love it, and so I think, you know, hopefully I'll die doing it, really, because it's, you know, you started off, but it's been 40 years of this, and it's my only addiction left, but it doesn't kill you, so minus the bank balance. God bless you. This is a lovely bit. I think it's going to end and then it comes back in. But there are so many little clubs like Zukunt. What's it called? What's the club called? Zukunt. I can't pronounce it. I struggle with my own language. Blame Thatcher, Margaret. She's dead now. I didn't do it.